Holy moly, hot process soap is fast. It is Sunday, June 14th, 2020. Today is the second in our soap series, and we're doing hot process today. Holy moly, let me say it again. Holy moly, is that stuff fast. Let me say right up front, I had anxiety about this as well, but I was waiting on a crock pot between the filming of the cold process and now, and so once the crock pot was here, I made myself do this. I wouldn't let anxiety stop me. Now, what you're seeing right there is me adding sodium lactate, which is a natural preservative to keep the oils, and the butter and butters from being affected by nature. And so I'm going to put in my cooled lye solution. Now, I've already made a mistake, and you'll see it right away. As I'm pouring this lye in, it was cooled, unlike the last one where we did a heat transfer method with really warm lye. This was completely cooled lye, and my solid oils were melted, so they were heated up, and you can see that it turned milky white right away, and I was like, this is kind of strange, but okay. I haven't even turned on the stick blender yet or stirred it at all, and it's already this milky white. But let's just exercise a little patience. I messed up. I forgot my soft oil. So I forgot basically my olive oil, and watch what happens. This stuff traces up so fast. Literally, you're watching this in real time. I haven't sped anything up. And this, look at this. This is traced to thick trace in, I don't know, a minute or two. And I was like, wow, I don't remember seeing this happening on any of the videos that I've researched. So I quickly realized there is something wrong here and I need to stop. And so I eventually do stop and realize that I have not measured out my olive oil and added my olive oil. So now I'm stopping with this gloppy white stuff, and I'm going to scrape down a little bit, and then I'm going to measure out my olive oil. And so here, right off the bat, is something to make sure, until you're extremely comfortable with the process, write your ingredient measurements down in the order that you're going to use them. So for the cold process, I wrote down the lye water solution second. I wrote down the oils first and got them all dissolved, if you remember. And then I measured my lye solution because I was doing a heat transfer method. I measured it and put it in almost right away as soon as it was dissolved. So here we go. Now we're going to measure out olive oil. And this recipe is almost exactly the same as the cold process recipe. What I mean by that is the basic oils are all the same except one. I added shea butter because I wanted some ability to, what do I want to say, leave a softening agent on your hands when you use it. So the shea butter was melted into the other oils. It was part of the hard oils, and now we're going to put the remaining soft oil in. I also want to tell you that this crock pot is too small. This is at best, 3.5 quart crock pot. It's perfect for one loaf, the size that you saw me make the other day in cold process, that one purple loaf. Perfect for that. But if I wanted to do batching, for hot process soap, I would definitely need a crock pot that is at least twice as big. Now, for right now, because I'm doing a test run, it's no big deal. It's only one use with a lye solution in it. I can wash it out, and I would use it for food if I needed to, and just buy a larger one specifically for soap. Now, having said that, I do not, let me emphasize it, I do not recommend ever using something you have made soap in for cooking, period. End of sentence. And this is as good a time as any to point out that you'll notice all of the things I use for soaping are dedicated for soaping. If you saw my kitchen, you would see that all these little plastic beakers and all the tools that I have, with the exception of one or two, are either stainless steel or they are red. In the case of this very gloppy spatula, it's a red spatula. The red tools are for soap. And so we scrape out as much of the mashed potato soap, soap batter, and pour in some olive oil and keep going. I have this on high heat right now because I was melting oils, and after I'm done incorporating with the stick blender, and I think I use the spatula here too, after I'm done incorporating and getting this stuff all to play nicely together, I turn it down to low, and I finish this process on low. And we're going to let this run because I want to, well, actually, we're going to do a time sweep so you can see the end of it. So now we've got it all incorporated, all the soft oils and all the hard oils and the lye solution. And it smells pretty olive oily now. It's very thick, but it's not hard to stir yet. Let's jump forward. I'm going to finish this off, scrape down the bowl, put the lid on, and let it cook. I'm supposed to be for about a half an hour. Let me tell you, it went so fast, I had to stir it down within less than 5 minutes. When you hear them say that the next stage is the applesauce stage, that's exactly what it looks like, and the weight of the consistency. It's not heavy and stiff. It's just like applesauce, and so you stir that down and make sure everything is incorporated. You scrape your sides, put the lid back on, and I set a timer for 15 minutes. I thought 15 minutes is when I'm going to have to start wondering if it's going to do what's called volcanoing, which is where the water is evaporating and the air, the oxygen that's in that water is releasing, and it makes foam. So let's see what happened. We're going to take the lid off. There's quite a bit of condensation now, and there's water or the condensation from the lid resting on the top. Now you can see it's foamy, and I'm using the stick blender for this round because I honestly thought that it was going to foam over. And even though I measured out my oils and adjusted my recipe to compensate for the fact that this is such a small crock pot. So we go through the stick blending process and we get it all incorporated again, and we set the timer once again. And the camera died. Not once, but twice. So this is sort of transitioning from applesauce to mashed potatoes. And when it's looking less juicy is when it's actually mashed potato stage. And then the final stage is Vaseline stage. And I have to tell you, if I wasn't filming and I just sat there with that pot, the whole start to finish process wouldn't have taken more than an hour and a half, not including cleanup. I thought it was going to take a lot longer. I really did, but it went so fast it caught me off guard. Now, having said that, and not being able to bring you the final applesauce phase, or the true mashed potato stage, because this is still a transition stage, the best I can do is bring you still shots of when I actually plopped it into the mold. So here's a close-up of the mold. You can see that hot process soap looks very different than cold process. Our cold process was an even buttery yellow color, and this it appears to have either a khaki color or like a greenish color, depending on how you're looking at it. I can't bring you the slicing today because it still has to firm up for 24 hours. So on Thursday, I'll bring you the slicing and the pH test. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I did. And I think I'm leaning towards hot process soap. Until I see you again, I hope you stay in good health and are enjoying a peaceful, sunny weekend.